Well, it looks like we have some news that we've kind of expected for a long time, but we finally have an insider saying that it's in production. What's up, everybody? My name is Tootin. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another NRS video. I don't know if I got Mortal Kombat 11 in the title or not. I don't really know how to word these new game rumor videos, but anyways, we have a little bit of insider information, actually from the same dude as the video yesterday, who gave us the information, plausible information about the Mortal Kombat sequel being announced. Now, I saw this on the Thinny's Twitter. Huge shout out to him because he shared it, so I saw it from him, and this is actually from the gamingbible.co.uk. So link in the description down below to all my sources, and the actual insider is Daniel Richtman. As I said for the video yesterday, same dude. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this. So we've all assumed since Ed Boon's interview in 2019, right before Mortal Kombat 11 actually released, to get an interview with, I forget, TGN or something like that, and he was asked about a Marvel fighting game, if they were, interested in doing that, or if they'd had talks about it, and Ed Boon said they did have a talk about it. So we've theorized since then that there would eventually be an NRS Marvel fighting game, since Marvel vs. Capcom is kind of down the hole and never coming back. And the main theory that I've had for that is because, they cut ties with Capcom to reach out to NRS, one of the most popular fighting game makers, in the market right now, since probably MK9, and even before that they were really popular. But it looks like an insider has finally given us the information that we've kind of expected but have been officially waiting on. So we'll go ahead and read a small excerpt from this little article. So I'll go ahead and throw it up on the screen, and again, this is from gamingbible.co.uk, and it says, according to notable leaker and industry insider Daniel Richtman via stealth optional, NetherRealm is developing a Marvel fighting game for next-gen consoles. Details are thin on the ground at this point, but Richtman claims the game is already in production, which is awesome. I'm pretty sure Daniel Richtman has been, I won't say like 100% in everything that, he's reported in the past, but I have heard his name a lot, and he's reputable enough for a lot of websites like Gaming Lag, and even We Got This Covered from yesterday about the Mortal Kombat movie sequel. Apparently he's reputable enough and right enough that, this is pretty, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but on-the-spot information, as we've already seen the interview with Ed, where he talks about, being in talks with Marvel for a fighting game. And I think it's just kind of something we all expected. They already have Injustice. They've already done justice to Injustice and DC and, all the superheroes over there. And we've kind of all been waiting on a Marvel fighting game from them, especially since Marvel vs. Capcom went down the hill with Infinite, and we kind of knew that there were no more Marvel vs. Capcom fighting games coming, and a fighting game genre is something that DC and Marvel have always kind of been interested in because it fits the genre. These superheroes fighting, that's what happens in the comics, superheroes versus villains, so it makes a lot of sense. And who better than to get Marvel back on the map as far as video games and fighting games go than NetherRealm Studios? It's not that weird to have Marvel working with NetherRealm Studios, even though they're under WB and making Justice, because they're both superheroes and they make really good fighting games. A lot of people have said it's impossible for a long time that NRS would actually get to do a Marvel fighting game because they're under WB and WB has DC and everything else, but it's not the first time we've seen Marvel and DC work together. It's not the first time we've seen the companies work together in some form or fashion. They had a crossover comic back in the 90s. They've done multiple things since then, so it's not that weird to see this happen. They reference each other in the movies all the time. I know that's not actually getting the copyright licenses or anything, but I've said it for years, it would be a perfect way to get both of them on the map and get a lot of people interested in both. If they build up this Marvel fighting game with NRS, we get a Marvel fighting game from NRS, we know we have the Injustice games from NRS, then eventually we could see a Marvel vs. DC fighting game, and I think that is the best for everyone. They've done crossovers before, and what better way to make money and, satisfy fans than to have a Marvel vs. DC crossover? That's for a fighting game. That's like tons and tons of money. And we've seen the crossover games from NRS before with Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. That wasn't the best game, but you know, the Mortal Kombat fighting games and Injustice fighting games have gotten leagues better since then. But like this article says, it is still best to take all of this with a grain of salt. Even though Daniel Richtman is a very accredited industry insider and leaker, it's still best to take all of this with a grain of salt, because even if this is 100% right and the game is in production, you never know what can happen. Where it is WB working with Marvel and Disney on this, the slightest thing could cause it to fall out, and that is kind of out of NRS's control. Really, all they're doing is developing the game. They're not really making the deals or anything else. So the best thing to do is to take all of this with a grain of salt. Wait and see, but stay hopeful. Either way, I'm extremely excited. I'm not saying don't get excited, because I'm really excited. If this is 100% accurate and nothing falls through and we actually get a Marvel fighting game from NRS, it's something I've waited for on years. I was always a huge fan of the Marvel vs. Capcom games, and after Infinite, I think we all kind of knew that Marvel vs. Capcom was never going to happen again, especially thanks to Maximilian Dude, who knows a lot of people in the industry as far as the Capcom side of things go, and he kind of knows that it's not happening anymore. He said there's like a 0.0000000 billion chance that we're ever going to get another Marvel vs. Capcom game. So I think this is the next best thing, and I think NRS could do it some justice and follow on that legacy in some way, at least on the Marvel side. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Are you guys excited about this? What characters do you want to see? What gameplay mechanics do you want to see? As a fighting game competitive player, there's a lot that I'd like to see in this game. I'd honestly like to see it stray away from the Injustice and Mortal Kombat side and maybe do NRS's first ever like tag 3v3 tag fighting game. That would be a good way to differentiate it from Injustice and Mortal Kombat, which Mortal Kombat and Injustice already have their own style of gameplay, so I think it would make sense for them to do the same thing with Marvel. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. I'm excited about this, but that is going to do it for this video, guys. If you like this video, make sure to like the video. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to continue getting updates about this from me, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, everything fighting games, and, you know, NRS, subscribe to the channel and turn those notifications on. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I've been your host. My name is Tainted, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.